Hello and welcome to NewFilmmakers Los Angeles. My name is Danny De Lillo. I'm delighted to welcome back after his fantastic film at our film festival, Daytime Moon. Kyung, nice to see you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
And so basically, if you've seen the film or if you haven't seen the film, here is a clip of Daytime Moon.
Everything's fucking wrong.
Okay, great, awesome. Daehyung, is it Daehyung?
Daehyung.
Daehyung,
Yeah.
okay, great. Well, thank you for that, and thanks for coming in. I really liked it. I think you've got a great read on the character, great look, great face. But here's the thing, and I'm just gonna be blunt about it.
So glad to have you here, and I have so many questions, so this is perfect. Thank you so much for making your film. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
So this story is about an Asian actor who has an accent, and he needs to compete with his ex-girlfriend to get the part of the movie that cast Asian actors.
It's a really brilliant story, like, you know, and you really feel the journey of these characters and what they're going through and what actors go through and actors that have an accent and all those kind of things. I really, really loved it. Where did you get the inspiration to say, I want to turn this idea into a film?
So basically, when I made this film, I was dating an Asian American actress, and she thought that she doesn't get the jobs as much as she needed, probably because like she had like an Asian accent. And one day we hiked up the Griffith Park together, and then we saw Daytime Moon there, and that was kind of interesting for me because like Daytime Moon will be most likely there always, but that was my first time seeing the Daytime Moon. So I thought that like it kind of like resembles like Asian immigrants living in LA, because there are a lot of like Asians living in LA, but I didn't think that like necessarily there are a lot of like representation.
It's so crazy because, you know, acting is a tough enough job as it is anyway. And it's like, you know, having something about you that distinguishes you should be a positive thing, you know. And it's so sad that a lot of people feel, you know, having an accent is almost like a hindrance, and it really, really shouldn't be, because I think it's beautiful having different accents around the world. You know, and it's something I think in our industry of acting and needs to change, and that the way that it's seen and everything else, it doesn't get enough attention. You had a really great cast. Like, I really was just, you know, obviously there were actors playing actors, so it was interesting.
Yeah.
But how did you bring your cast together?
So the process was like pretty smooth because I work with most of the actors that I cast.
Mm-hmm.
And for the character of Taehyung, Yoon Jung is like one of my best friends, and I worked with him before. And I know that he might be he must be very good for this character, because he's American, but he also came from Korea,
Mm-hmm.
and he knows a lot of stuff, and he has some experience of like being in an audition and things like that. So even when I was writing the script, I knew that I'm gonna cast him. And also like I just like his performance too, because like he's very genuine type of actor.
Yeah.
And like for the character of Rebecca as well, like I knew that I'm gonna cast Vivian because like I also worked with her before, and you know, like she also like she's really good at like comedy stuff, but also like she can bring that like emotional feelings. So I thought that she might be really good for this role.
Yeah.
And for the part of like Takashi, that's the only part that I did audition. And I got recommendation from Vivian that Hero might be really good for this part.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw some of his like reels and some of the videos of his, and then I really liked it. So like that's how I cast him. And the funny thing is like for the producer and the director of in this movie are actually like my fellows in AFI. They were like directing discipline and a producing discipline. So like that's kind of like was fun experience for me.
That's amazing. That's really cool. Well, I love that you had a good team together of people, and it's great that, you know, you knew the lead roles, the important people in your life as well. When you're, how's your kind of directing like process?
I definitely do some like rehearsals and like talk with actors about like their experience and everything. But also like in this movie, like I used a lot of like improvisation because like I really like to use improvisation as a tool of directing a lot of times because like I get a lot of like authenticity from doing that. And particularly the scene where Taehyung like does the audition in front of a director and producer, that whole scene was improvised because like I did write a script for that scene as well, but I was doing some rehearsal and I thought that, as I said, like producer and director in the movie are like my fellows, right?
Yeah.
And then they somehow worked together actually before, like a year before, as a producer and director. And I thought that like if they do the improvisation, they can do like much better, much more genuinely. So like I tried that out, and then it worked so well, and it looked very authentic. So I used that on the set as well, and then the whole part was basically improvised.
Wow. Wow. See, it's good to ask these questions you would never have known because that was a really fantastic scene. And I love the way you shot that as well. I love that you really shot it in a very, very intimate way as well. Was that something, how was your process in terms of the way you shot? Because it was very, very interesting the way you shot the film.
First, I thought for that particular scene, it would be much more, it would be very important to focus on the character. So I didn't want to like have the shot of director or producer because like, like I want audiences to really feel the emotion of the characters and what he's going through. And also I didn't want to make like other shots like, like over the shoulder or other like typical shots because like I want audiences to really feel that energy and feel the atmosphere. So that's why I used that long take, and then like that's why I didn't show necessarily the faces of director and producer.
No, I love the way you shot it. It was really, I felt very much like I was, watching a performance myself. It really worked. What did you kind of want your audience to sort of maybe even learn or understand or take from your film? Like, was there any elements you hope or your audience would take from it as well?
I hope people can understand there needs to be like more diversity in terms of like film industry, because like whenever I'm talking with like some of my friends who are not filmmakers, like in LA, when I say like, oh, like there are some like cool actors, but like they might not get as much jobs as they want because like they have like some accent. And some of them are actually saying that like, oh, but like that's actor's job to like, get rid of the accent and everything. But I don't necessarily think that like that's actor's job to like get rid of like the like whole accent, because like sometimes it's like really hard, and like actor's job is to like bring life to the character, not to like necessarily like getting rid of the accent all the time. So I just wish that people enjoy like more diversity.
I honestly, I'm really glad that you brought this up, and it's so interesting because we are in an industry that is, it has a negative effect. It's like, oh, we can appreciate it outside of film, but when it comes to actually filming, there's a sort of negative effect about accents and the pressure for actors to get rid of the accents. And it's like, you're getting rid of someone's identity. And it's okay if you want to play a certain role and it requires an accent and you want to give it a go, but not when it's like, oh, you've got to get rid of your accent, like it's a negative thing, like, and I'm really glad that you brought light on it, because there should be, there should 100%, we need to see more visibility and diversity in front and behind camera. But on top of that, an accent is, shouldn't be regarded as a negative thing. It's part of someone is, and I think there's so much beauty in different accents. It's great. So I'm glad that you made the film with that respect as well. How's the reaction been for you? It was great to have you at New Filmmakers LA. How's the reaction been for you in sharing it at film festivals, and how's that been for you?
I think I had like a really good experience in this film festival. Because like this time like social distancing is like really hard to like have the opportunity to show my film. but like I got a lot of like reactions from people who participated in this film festival, and then I talked a lot of like subjects about like each other's film. So like it has been a fantastic experience for me, for sure.
Good. Oh, good. Well, I hope the journey continues where you know it can be celebrated even during these times as well. I know obviously we're in a particular moment in time, but what is next for you?
I'm currently working on writing a feature version of this movie. I'm obviously gonna make more characters and then like more stories, and I'm gonna show more daily lives of this main character. So like that's pretty much like what I'm working on right now.
Oh, fantastic! And have you got a nice team that you work together as well that you could, or do you work with different people each time?
For now, like I'm writing by myself, and I'm hopefully I'm gonna work with a lot of people that I worked in the short film. So yeah, I need to see.
No, see how it goes. And like obviously in your career thus far, what sort of things are important to you, in terms of maybe something you can share out there with other filmmakers that's important to you in your work, or any piece of advice that you'd be willing to share with us today?
For me, the important thing is like you have to have that like persistency, because like going on a path of becoming a director is like not always like very comforting, and you might have to like face a lot of like difficulties and like pressure. So it's like very important to like just know what you're doing and like know what you want to do and what you want to become, and like follow that route. Yeah.
Yeah, no, perfect. Well, I really enjoyed your film. I want you to, even during this time, keep writing away and make more, please. We need you. But no, thank you for bringing your film to New Filmmakers and Daytime Moon, and we're looking forward to much more of your projects. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. Thank you.